doing, Frida? Hello there, Motorbud. What are you doing? Hello there. Hello. Patricia O'Connor and a very frisky Frida Reba Darcy here. And we have been doing a little bit of work. As you can see, I have one side of my shelf pretty well built. And the whole thing will need to get lowered when the other side's built, but more on that in just a second. So in between this time and the last time that I was here, I really trashed the place. The parts that I had been waiting for had finally arrived. The big things in the picture laying across the screen are scaffolding, leveling jacks. And this is how a construction crew would level scaffolding when it's being set up on, say, an uneven sidewalk. As you can see, I use those guys there. They're really beefy, and I use them to hold up these shelves. I can just put God knows what up there now, and those 2x12s will squash before those jacks go anywhere. And I think I've shown you this system before, but it's basically the pipe that you see on top is the same kind of galvanized pipe that I use to make the rig that the lights are hanging from. That galvanized pipe could be used for water or to run conduit wiring through, and I don't think it's for gas. Could be wrong about that. It may be gas too. Anyway, the galvanized pipe that we made the rig out of, that the light's hanging from, was like 1/2 inch. This is a piece of 1.5 inches. This is, I believe, 1.5 inch tubing, and this is a flange that I put on it. The flange would be used to attach this if it goes into a wall, or if you were going to make a pair of bar stools or something. I've seen bars actually use these flanges, although I don't know how strong that cast would be on shifting weight of somebody rocking on a bar stool. I suppose it would be strong enough. And it's definitely heavy. But then the use of this jack, you can see they just screw down, up and down, and this just simply slides on. Now, I think when it came to this one, yeah, I did put one screw in it, but basically gravity is gonna not let that go anywhere, although I'll probably run some screws in more of them. Now, I've run into a small snag. The idea that I had originally was to take every one of these trees, and for the day while I'm working on this, bring them in the house. Just set them on all these tables and in the kitchen, and that way I wouldn't have to worry about bumping anything, breaking anything, breaking a limb, chipping a pot, any of that stuff. But the other day, when I did the video where I told you about how I had trimmed this guy, I had to there was a table here, and I reached over the table to grab this guy, and yesterday was the day, 2 days after, and that's when I woke up with the worst back. I had absolutely wrenched the teetotal crap out of my back. And ironically, yesterday was the same day that all my parts showed up. So naturally, I would want to jump in there and start wrangling around all these pieces of iron and all these shelves and all these heavy ass trees, but I'm not quite as dumb as I used to be when it comes to that. The old me would power through, or try to power through, a sore back. The older me knows better than that. If you ever really want to put yourself in the bed with a backache, try to walk off a bad back or try to work through a bad back, you will make that so much worse that it'll just double down until you finally stop. So what I needed to do yesterday was immediately take some aspirin. I'm not going to plug anybody, but I just basically took some aspirin and said, we're not going to do this today. But then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, I was feeling limber enough and warmed up enough that, and loosened up enough because of the aspirin. That was really a bad time to go lifting stuff. That I went ahead and built this side, but I took it kind of super easy. For sure, I didn't go lifting any heavy ass trees. The problem was I reached over to grab that guy. That's a really heavy tree. And when I reached over that table to pick that up, I did a number on my back and then didn't realize it. I went through the entire next day and just went, yeah, my back's a little sore. But then yesterday, I was like, yeah, this is the point of quit, or it will quit you. You can either stop or it will stop you. And so I did that, and that's an important lesson. So this is why we're not really done, and this is why I'm not holding the phone with one hand and holding the 2x12 with the other and running the screws up into the bottom. But I wanted to give you all a quick look of how this was coming. The tables that I had in there are already gone. I've got a lot more room down here. This was a brass planter. There's another one over there in the corner. I will take that wisteria out of that and replant that in a different planter that I have. And I am going to take that, which is also a pedestal. I had to drill holes in it to make it a planter, but the bottom is solid, except for the holes that I drilled in it, of course. And I'm going to make that a pedestal, or use that as the pedestal that it is, and use the other one as the pedestal that it is. And Frida and I are going to put these trees on that pedestal instead of those cinder blocks. That'll be another project coming. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do between now and the next time I see you guys is I am going to very carefully, very slowly, going really, really, really slow, not trying to torque myself out, I will do it this way. I'm just going to show you right quick what I'm going to be doing. See these lag screws? Those are my lag screws. That's my impact gun. Instead of buying a drill, I bought an impact gun. You can still drill with an impact gun, but you can't impact so good with the drill, and that's my thinking. So anyway, I will take 2 of these straps. I'm showing you one, but I'll take 2 of them, and I'll put one here, and I'll put one here, and I'll run lag screws that I just showed you with that impact gun in both of those, and that'll have those 2 little guys sticking out. Then I will take that guy and sit it on a cinder block like that guy, and then set the board, that board, on top, and then run lag screws from that strap to the bottoms of those boards, strapping that in, and then I'll run that up and run a lag screw underneath that, and then at that point I will break loose those lag screws and those lag screws and those other lag screws down the way, and I'll lower the whole shelf, and then we'll move on from there. So yeah, that's what we have going on. This is, by the way, this is my oak. It's changing its leaves. It's starting to fill out. I remember now that I bought it August last year, and it had new bright leaves all over it. It must have just done that when Pat came along and went, oh wow, that oak is great looking. Totally. So yeah, that's what's going on there. The another little quick catch up. My Dawn Redwood is looking really good. Everybody just got fed. Everybody smells like fish emulsion. The Trident Maple is really happy. I think it's happier with the new lighting setup. I don't feel like the side that's not being outside is hurting as bad as it used to. The black pine is just, I don't know. I'm just in awe of this thing. Like I've told you guys before, the one on the right is, I believe, 75 years old. I'm the third owner. And one of the other owners may have named it Jim Brown. The one on the left was 17 years, started from seed by teacher, and it's a new acquisition for me. And I had to promise him that I would mind my P's and Q's with this guy. So yeah, we can't go letting down teacher. And the one next to it, this one, is a 2-year-old black pine. So yeah, I've got 2 and a 17-year-old and a 75-year-old. And this is my bougainvillea shoot that I rooted. And as you can see, the cypress tree that I got last year is growing really well. It's a lot, I think the trunk, I don't know if you can tell, but the trunk is quite a bit thicker. It's got a really nice shape to it. And I'm just, all in all, I've never been anything but thrilled with this tree from minute one. It's just like, to me, it was an instant bonsai. The oak is doing really good. It had cobwebs all over it. I don't mind if they're leaf hoppers, but I'm a little shell shot over the spider mites that I've had lately. There is the Codaheim forest. It looks like it's about time for me to go in there and clean up the neighborhood. It could go for a little urban renewal, but I think everything looks happier here. It was looking the more the summer went on and on and on, instead of it leafing out and looking greener and lusher and prettier, it just started looking more and more wind-beat. So as soon as I took it off the rail, it stopped getting wind burning, and as soon as I put up the lights, it started really responding well. So the some of the other plants are absolutely really happy that we've got this. And this is another small little bougainvillea I have going. It's a deep red color, I believe. It's kind of mad at me from where I took the planters out of there, and it was rooted into something else, was really tangled into it. So I just cut it back into a little ball. And I said, this will either be a cool little show hen or it'll die. But it's going to be, I think it may go. It may live. It's going to be, in the tropics, these guys can start these from nothing. And that guy started on similar circumstances. But that'll sure be cool if I pull that off. And it's a little crackledy Tokiyama pot I got. Here's my other little oak. I was telling you how I always try to rescue these oaks and they mostly die. Well, this is the one that could. And that's the one I got on the same day that couldn't. However, the ones that I left behind aren't there now either. So, that's the way that goes. So yeah, Yordadori at its best. And that's a little quick catch up of what we got going on here. The pedestals that I am going to use instead of those cinder blocks, I think will be a lot prettier. They're large, round, and brass, as you can see, and with all the watering that the cypress trees get, I'm thinking that they will probably turn green, or at least I'm hoping. And if they don't, it's because they have some protective coating on them, and I will still wool that off because we're all about that patina. And yeah, so that'll also raise this. That'll also raise this tree up a small amount. So yeah, that's kind of what we've got going on. I wanted to give y'all. This was a different video than the one I intended to do. I intended to do one where I was going to show you half of it built and then build the other half. But instead, I'm just show you half of it built and show you how I'm going to build the other half, and then a little tree catch up. That is my Chinese wisteria, and it's happy to be fed, and it's just really happy on that table. I think that light makes it pretty. The color of it looks really good. Yeah, it's gonna go well with that. So yeah, also maybe I'll get some of these wisterias, leftover wisterias, to grow up those pipes so that they won't look like galvanized pipes. So yeah, this is how things are starting to come along on the bonsai balcony, and I already see, like, the first thing I thought of this morning when I woke up, I thought, what if this, when this shelf goes down to here, right, and goes all the way around, what if there were another one right here, about cinder block high, all the way around? So I see that. I see that happening. That'll be more room for more trees, and all the while we are going to measure our success with these lights. We're going to be constantly watching to see if the vigor and the photosynthesis of, like, our wisterias and our cypress, if they seem to show any signs that they're not happy with these. If there's, I'm wondering if maybe the boards that you see, I have no idea. And when I say boards, they're little boards that are full of LED chips now, and I have no idea if that's a gimmick or not, to be honest. And that's what I was kind of alluding to the other day. I watch more of that crap than, frankly, I want to, and it really, really appears to be manufacturer-driven propaganda for the most part. So I don't really want to go throwing money at what Dave at the Grow Warehouse says. And straight answers seem to be few and far between. So we're just gonna have to figure this out. I don't think I wasted my money on those. I already know that they're more efficient than the fluorescent types that they replaced, and the fluorescent types that they replaced are more than good enough to grow tall adult cannabis plants, which would grow on the equator best of all if given their druthers. So I'm kind of just doing the little side equate and thinking that that tit for tat will get away with this. If they don't look like they're thriving, we'll step it up or hop it up or do whatever we got to do. Plus, what we're doing right now, let's say that I just absolutely threw a dart at the board and nailed the absolute perfect grow light, and that right there is it. 2 years from now, that thing will be out by the dumpster because they will have already come out with something, you know, in theory. I mean, it may just be more hype. But this is sort of a quickly evolving business. I think it's mostly driven by the cannabis guys, which is, you know, our trees are for life. We're not growing something that's going to be dead at harvest. So hopefully. So yeah. Anyway, that's the differences in what I'm trying to get information wise, and the trouble I'm having trying to separate fact from fiction. So we're just kind of doing this trial by trial and error. But so far, I don't think that our guys show any signs of lacking in any way. I do see signs where Pat left the wire on a little too long. It probably was a good thing the camera wouldn't focus on that, but go ahead, show them, Pat. Anyway, all right, that's where I'm gonna stop this for now. Golly, I'm not sure if I'm gonna empty the bench or if I'm just gonna go ahead and build the other side, but I don't think right now. I think I need to wait a day or two probably before I go handling all of those trees at least. So I don't think that'll stop me from building the other side. I do think that'll stop me from unbolting that rail and lowering it. I don't want it to have a ton of weight on it when I do that. For obvious reasons. I mean, they don't call me Mad Pat for nothing. So yeah. Like and subscribe. Golly, we're already starting to get a little traction here. And this is just always going to evolve. We're going to do this onward and upward and better. So yeah, Operation Somehow. Thanks for watching.